a bag that has an opening with a mouth that speaks, as a man who is old sees people as trees, and Jesus spits in his eyes and says, "Now what do you see?" He says, "I see people as people." The irony of living in a world called the Matrix and reading the literature that is biblically put there for a master chef and a master study to be a master chef in what is called the King of the Jews, the King of fornication and lust, being born into this world, dying from God, not just interracial togetherness between white and black, but everybody. And most notably, the interracial kills themselves completely and has a divination in the darkness that eventually blots out the sun and the moon and the stars. It turns the world dark for another, it's already written, so it's happened, another control system where everybody is in a dark manipulation and uh, well, in some cases, I mean, the law is dark and it's not really that pleasing. But then there are some cities and states that are pleasing with the law and very lenient in their system. But darkness has uh, when the children fall in the darkness until that star is dead, there are children. There is a sense of happiness and joy and gladness. However, the, the wisdom of the sun, the moon, and the stars turning dark in that manner between interracial relationships is not so pleasing to the heart, the mind, and the eyes when you know and see God fully in his wisdom, in the imagination that he had created for all people. But being that it falls, truth falls into the streets, and what we do with it, granted it came from somebody else's lustful greed or lustful nature, what we do with it, understanding that there may be some point of control in the Solomon seal, which is labeled one of the seals with the King of the Jews, Jesus Christ, who went up with the commandments of Solomon, which is the brother of Saint Matthew, who is crossed right next to Jesus Christ, and the cherubim pig with the two giants, Hercules and Perseus, a part of this um, cherubim in the pig family. But because it's tossed into the streets and salvaged into the heavens, that tree that has all of the animals in it that is a part of your nature or self-being or um, everything you do, that in the tree is not a part of that in the ground, which is said to be every creepy crawly thing on its belly involved with Delphi the devil, the oracle of the earth, the all-knowing matrix, the all-knowing oracle of the matrix, Delphi. And in the tree of the forbidden fruit that had consummated childbirth in Adam and Eve through Delphi, the snake had climbed up in salvation and made itself upon the head of all the animals in the tree of your nature and self-being, and your normal self in it is a reckoning of both the earth the tree. And if you are reborn in Jesus Christ, the seed, both the land, the fowl of the land, the fowl of the tree, the fowl of the earth, the fowl of the sea, the fowl of the wind, the rain, the earth, all those things. You become one with all things through salvation when you salvage the creepy crawly things upon its belly, even children. Children are known to crawl on their bellies until they are risen up, and every childbirth is through Jesus Christ, who had consummated the religion of the church through childbirth as a woe, and then dying as another woe, and then being reborn in Jesus Christ as another woe. And this consecration to the church had Jesus Christ been labeled in the Trinity as a savior of all things: the land, the devil Delphi, everything that crawls on his belly like a snake, even children, and the tree, all the animals that can crawl up there and climb in and mess around with your brain or whatever, and the sea, all the fish that have been separated from the earth into the heaven, and the birds that fly up there speaking the king's cursed matters, and so on. But I wanted to remind myself as I admire the nature of things in all likeness, being favored by great wisdoms of archangel, and um, able to enter in heaven as the sword split tongue speaks through the mouth. Granted, the fire is not seen, but the omniscient idea of fire is felt. It is not seen when I speak, but I speak with wisdom, and you can see clearly that my words are true, with the great architect above in Jesus, with the great architect here in St. Matthew. For Jesus and St. Matthew were crossed together on the cross, and the only one that chose Jesus Christ as the Savior was St. Matthew, in the Bible noted to be the last chosen saint of the 144,000 before the world in the southern and the western region had been cast down in the form of the two stones believed to be Ryujin, and the Bible reorchestrated to be the river dried up of the Jordan, and the stones were put into a box, and it represented Jacob and Joseph, or Joseph and uh, it was Jacob and Joseph, I believe. I'm not real actually sure where it reads it in the Bible at this particular moment, but I will find it. I'm in a position where studies are more of a omniscient grab and take and go and salvage and rise and be one with it all. So I'll find the scriptures, but it is there. The said consecration to the Lord, that um, freedom from the law in all people.